The room buzzed with tension as lights glared on a polished oak table. Clint Eastwood, a Hollywood legend whose presence had defined decades, sat composed, his weathered face unyielding. Across from him was Claire Daniels, a sharp-eyed reporter known for unearthing secrets and sparking controversies. She wasn't here for a casual chat. She wanted headlines. Standing quietly behind Clint was Barron Trump, 19, tall and poised, his piercing blue eyes scanning the room with maturity beyond his years. Barron's father, the 47th President of the United States, had privately entrusted Clint with a special role, mentor and godfather to his youngest son. Few knew the depth of their bond, but today it would come to light. Claire's questions cut like a blade, each designed to provoke. "Mr. Eastwood," she began, her tone icy. "Some call you outdated, irrelevant. Why cling to a fading spotlight?" Clint's eyes narrowed, but before he could respond, Barron spoke, his voice calm yet commanding. "Sometimes the brightest lights are the ones people overlook. Be careful not to miss them, Claire." Claire froze, her pen pausing mid-sentence. She hadn't expected Barron to intervene. "I didn't realize you were part of this discussion," she said, trying to regain control. "I'm not," Barron replied smoothly. "But when someone disrespects a man who stood the test of time, I can't stay silent." Clint placed a hand on Barron's shoulder, a silent signal to let him handle it. "The kid's got a point," Clint said, his gravelly voice cutting through the tension. "Let's talk about the real story, not the headline you're chasing." Claire shifted tactics, undeterred. "You talk about respect, Barron, yet your father's presidency divides a nation. What gives you the right to speak on legacy and integrity?" Barron's jaw tightened, but his voice remained steady. "I speak because I've lived it, and because I've learned from men like Clint, who earned their place in history by standing tall, not tearing others down." Claire leaned back, studying him. Barron wasn't just his father's shadow. He was something more. As the interview continued, Claire zeroed in on Clint. "Mr. Eastwood, rumors suggest you've used your influence to shield the Trump family. Care to comment?" Clint's eyes darkened. "Rumors are like shadows, empty until you give them light. I don't deal in gossip." Claire turned to Barron. "And you, living under your father's presidency, how you cope with being seen as just Donald Trump's son?" The room fell silent. Barron's composure wavered, his voice steady but laced with emotion. "I'm more than my last name. Clint showed me that legacies aren't handed out. They're earned. Respect isn't inherited. It's proven." The weight of Barron's words settled over the room. Claire's hand trembled as she scribbled notes. Something was shifting, and everyone felt it. The storm. Claire, sensing a career-defining moment, pressed harder. "Clint, you've been called protector of a controversial family. Is that a title you embrace or a burden?" Before Clint could answer, Barron interjected. "Is it controversial to stand by those you care about? Or is it just easier to attack what you don't understand?" Claire raised an eyebrow. "So you admit there's controversy?" "The controversy isn't in the truth," Barron said firmly. "It's in how people twist it. Clint's loyalty isn't a burden. It's a testament to his character." The tension grew palpable. Even the security guards at the doors shifted uneasily. Claire, momentarily thrown, pulled a frayed file from her bag. "Mr. Eastwood," she said coldly, "there are whispers about an incident in your past, a decision that may have cost lives. Care to comment?" Clint's jaw tightened. The room held its breath. Barron glanced at Clint, seeing a flicker of vulnerability in his usually stoic godfather. "That's enough," Barron said, his voice low but commanding. Claire smirked. "What's wrong, Barron? Afraid the truth will tarnish your image of him?" Barron stood, his towering frame casting a shadow. "The truth doesn't scare me. Your obsession with tearing people down does. You want a story? How about the one where Clint saved my life twice?" The room froze. Claire blinked, caught off guard. "Save your life?" she repeated, skeptical. "Yes," Barron said, his voice cracking with emotion. "But you don't care about that, do you? You'd rather dig up old wounds and honor the man who's been my anchor in a chaotic world." Claire's confidence wavered. "What do you mean he saved your life?" Barron's gaze hardened, a glimmer of pain in his eyes. When my father was campaigning, there was a credible threat against me. Clint stepped in when no one else could. Claire's pen hovered, her hand trembling. Why hasn't this been told? Because Clint doesn't chase praise, Barron said. He doesn't need validation. He does what's right, even when no one's watching. Clint, silent until now, spoke. I'm no hero, Barron. I did what anyone would do. Barron shook his head. Not anyone. Only you. Claire looked down, her usual bravado fading. The story unfolding before her was deeper than she'd imagined. Barron's voice broke the silence again. You want the truth, Claire? When I was 15, during a campaign rally in Texas, a man armed with a weapon breached security. Alarms blared, chaos erupted, and my security team froze. Clint didn't. Clint clenched his jaw, his voice steady but low. I acted. That's all. You didn't just act, Barron said, his voice trembling. You risked your life for me. That's why I won't let anyone tear you down. Tears welled in the eyes of those present, including Claire. She leaned back, stunned. The Clint Eastwood she thought she knew was being replaced by a man whose bravery she couldn't deny. Why hasn't this story been told? She asked softly. Clint shrugged, his weathered face showing the weight of years. It wasn't about me. It was about keeping Barron safe. Barron turned to Claire. Do you know what it's like to owe someone your life? To know they're the reason you're still here? It's humbling, Claire. A beautiful, heavy burden. Claire blinked rapidly, her professional mask slipping. I didn't know, she murmured. Because you didn't ask, Barron said. You came with an agenda. But the truth is, Clint's more than you could ever imagine. The silence that followed was filled with respect and reflection. Claire looked at her notepad, her prepared questions now irrelevant. Barron, she said carefully, why are you so protective of Clint? It's not just about that moment, is it? Barron hesitated, his eyes glistening. No, Clint isn't just my godfather. He's my mentor, my guide. When my dad was running the country, Clint taught me what it means to be a man. Clint sighed, leaning back. I just did what was right. Barron needed someone, and I was there. Claire looked down, guilt washing over her. I came here to tear you down because I didn't understand. I thought you were just another celebrity clinging to relevance. I was wrong. Barron nodded. We all make mistakes, Claire. What matters is what we do with the truth. The letter. During a brief break, Barron stepped away to gather his thoughts, his security detail keeping watch. Claire's eye caught a small leather briefcase belonging to Clint. May I? She asked, gesturing toward it. Clint nodded. Go ahead. Nothing in there I'm ashamed of. Claire opened it and pulled out a yellowed, folded letter. The shaky handwriting was Barron's, written years ago. It spoke of a boy's gratitude for a man who'd stepped into his life during uncertain times. Claire's expression softened. You kept this? Clint nodded. It reminded me why I do what I do. It's not about cameras or accolades. It's about making a difference. Barron returned, noticing the letter. His guard dropped and he smiled. He's always kept it. That's Clint, carrying reminders of what matters. As the cameras resumed, Claire's tone softened. Clint, why stay close to the Trump family, knowing the scrutiny it brings? Clint leaned forward, eyes steady. Loyalty isn't conditional. It's not about agreeing with every choice. It's about standing by those who've trusted you with their lives. Barron added, Clint taught me loyalty is rare. It's not about convenience. It's about commitment. When my father was sworn in, Clint was there not because he had to be, but because he believed in us. Claire's eyes glistened as she scribbled notes. Barron, do you feel the weight of your family's legacy? Every day, Barron said, his voice trembling. But Clint showed me legacies are built, not inherited. He's taught me to stand tall, even when the world's waiting for you to fall. The raw emotion in Barron's voice silenced the room. Claire realized this wasn't about politics or headlines. It was about humanity. As the interview neared its end, Claire looked at Barron. If you could say one thing to Clint right now, what would it be? Barron turned to Clint, eyes brimming with tears. Thank you for everything. For being there when I needed you. For showing me what it means to be brave. Clint, usually stoic, swallowed hard. You don't have to thank me, kid. You've got a strength the world hasn't even begun to see. Claire closed her notebook, visibly moved. I came looking for flaws, for a story to tear down a legacy. Instead, I found an unshakable bond, a story that deserves to be told. As the camera stopped, Claire offered her hand to Clint. Thank you for reminding me what strength looks like. Barron and Clint exchanged a glance, their bond stronger than ever. They'd weathered the storm, and the truth was about to shine. The truth. Later that evening, Barron sat in the White House family quarters, Clint by his side. Do you ever regret stepping into my life? Barron asked, his voice heavy. Clint's eyes softened. Not for a second. You needed someone, and I needed purpose. Life has a way of bringing people together when they need each other most. Barron pulled out an old photograph, a candid shot of Clint shielding him during that fateful rally years ago. I keep this with me, he admitted. It reminds me courage isn't about being fearless. It's about acting despite fear. Clint placed a hand on Barron's shoulder. You've got plenty of courage, kid. More than most men I've known. The next day, Claire requested another interview. This time, it's not for headlines, she told Barron's security team. It's for them. Barron hesitated, but agreed. No scripts, no rehearsed questions. Just honesty. The interview took place in the East Wing, Clint seated beside Barron. Claire addressed the camera directly. Sometimes, we think we know a story's narrative, but the truth is often more powerful than we imagine. As Clint and Barron shared their experiences, the room grew heavy with emotion. Clint spoke of sacrifice, the toll of his life, and the pride he felt watching Barron grow into a man of integrity. By the end, even the security team was visibly moved. The interview aired that evening, and the response was immediate. Social media erupted with praise for Clint's bravery and Barron's humility. People shared stories of inspiration, moved by the bond between the two men. Barron's phone buzzed with messages of support. I wasn't expecting this, he admitted to Clint. Clint chuckled. People recognize authenticity. Barron, that's what they saw. Claire, overwhelmed by the flood of emails and calls, sat in her office. Many thanked her for telling a story not about politics or fame, but about humanity. That night, Barron and Clint watched the sunset from the White House balcony. For the first time, Barron said, I feel like people see me for who I am, not just a president's son. Clint smiled. That's worth more than anything. But a storm was brewing. A private investigator, hired by a rival network, unearthed a decades-old rumor about Clint. Though baseless, the story gained traction. Headlines screamed, Clint Eastwood, hero or fraud. Barron was furious. Why can't they leave him alone? He's done nothing but good. Clint shrugged. The truth shines through, Barron. Let them talk. But Barron couldn't stay silent. That evening, he recorded a video message in front of the White House, addressing the nation. I've seen what Clint Eastwood stands for: loyalty, integrity, courage. Anyone who questions that doesn't know him like I do, and they never will. The video went viral. Millions rallied behind Barron's words, condemning the baseless attacks. For the first time, Clint showed emotion. Thank you, Barron. You've done more for me than I ever imagined. Despite the chaos, Clint insisted on attending a charity gala for veterans, a cause close to his heart. As they entered the Grand Hall, applause erupted, not for the president's son or the legendary actor, but for their bond. In his speech, Clint addressed the crowd. I've been called many things, but the title I'm proudest of is Godfather. Barron isn't just the president's son. He's a young man who represents the future. If my role in his life has made a difference, I've done my job. Tears filled Barron's eyes as he took the microphone. Clint's been my rock. He's taught me to stand tall, even when the world tries to bring you down. Tonight, I dedicate this moment to him. The crowd rose to their feet, their applause echoing. Even Claire and the audience wiped away tears. As the week ended, the impact of their story lingered. Barron and Clint shared one last quiet moment. Clint, Barron said softly, I don't know what I'd have done without you. Clint smiled, his voice steady but warm. You're stronger than you think, Barron, and I'll always be here for you. They embraced, The cameras capturing a testament to their unbreakable bond. Across the nation, people watched, moved by their sincerity. The next morning, headlines told a new story, a bond that transcends politics. Clint Eastwood and Barron Trump inspire a nation.